tonight's tactical enhancement has made the local bees very, very angry. Tonight, we're playing Victory at Sea, around about 450 points, give or take. We'll work out the specifics in a minute. And it's my British versus Andrew's Kreigsmarine. Talk us through what you've got.
Okay, so 3 destroyers. These are the type 1936A class destroyers. Very fast, 7-inch flank speed. They have 7 hull points, which I understand for a destroyer is really good. They have excellent guns. They have excellent torpedoes. They have radar, sub hunter, which we won't use today. And they're 60 points each, so they're quite expensive.
60, right. I think of these as super destroyers for what you get. They're really impressive.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Alright, so the big fella there is a Deutschland class cruiser, which I'm assuming is some kind of heavy cruiser. Costs 280 points. It's 3+ armor, so it's pretty good armor.
Actually, to be honest, that's crap armor.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, are you rolling more or less?
You're going to roll your armor score or higher to do damage.
Oh, okay. That's not so good. It has 32 hull points.
That actually is pretty good.
2 aircraft, has radar. Has 2 big guns on it. They're 11-inch guns.
Whoa.
Light guns, it has 8 5.9-inch guns, has some AA, and has torpedoes.
Yep. Okay, and that's up against the British, where we have a bunch of cheap cruisers. We've got the Edinburgh class, which is actually not too bad. It's got lots of guns. The British ones will come with torpedoes, which is, I feel the Americans too often, it feels strange. Dido class anti-aircraft cruiser. Now, here's a weird thing. The Edinburgh is a light cruiser, and the Länder over here is a light cruiser. And the Dido is listed just as cruiser, but it's smaller and has less hull points than the light cruisers. And to be honest with you, the Dido is kind of ablative. It's not very good. Tribal class destroyers, they're 35 points each. They've got some torpedoes and some piddly little guns.
What is this?
And I think the Dido and the Länder have fast track guns, which will be very useful against those destroyers. We'll check that later on. Now what we're doing is, because it's been a while since Andrew's had a chance for a game, and I've had a couple, and we're thinking about this upcoming global tournament thing that's happening in August apparently. So I thought we might go through this one in a structured sort of way, play a smaller points game, and try and remind ourselves of all the finer points of the rules that we quite often forget after a few glasses of tactical enhancement. So, what we do first is we work out the mission, and we'll roll on the competitive battles chart. Roll the D5, please.
D5?
Well, there's only 5 missions, just, you know. Alright, 4. Destroy versus last stand. Alright, let's see what the mission is. Alright, let's also see who does what. On a 4+, you can just choose which one you want to do.
Okay.
Alright, do you want to destroy or last stand?
Destroy.
Alright, destroy. Now, destroy has high priority, so you actually get plus 10% points.
Oh, okay.
And last stand, however, is low, so it's minus 10% points. We'll have to work that out in a minute. Alright, destroy is the enemies gathered at assault force, massing a great deal of their strength in one place. Sink every ship, and the enemy will be irreparably weakened in theatre. Cripple or destroy every enemy ship to achieve a major victory. Score the most victory points to earn a minor victory.
Okay.
Cripple or destroy everything.
It's all over, but
We
okay.
usually get minor victories in this game. Then I've got last stand. Where the hell is it? There it is. Last stand. Your small force is trapped and likely doomed, apparently. Fight for your life and victory may still be yours. Sink at least one enemy ship and score the most victory points to earn a major victory. Score the most victory points to earn a minor victory. This may come down just to points.
What's this?
Alright, now we've got to work out what the points difference works out as, because we've only got approximate fleets. So we'll adjust those and then we'll get back to you. Right, so we've done some jiggery pokery to try and make our fleets fit with the priority system. Andrew's at 520, I'm at 410. So I'm down a bit on points compared to Andrew, but not by enough to give a shit. It's a training mission anyway. This priority stuff does make it a bit tricky in smaller point games. It's worth noting we're playing around about 41, we figure. Seems to be the sweet spot for the Germans. We might get some better planes later on, but not much. And I think we'll probably do the tournament in that time frame because it involves less mucking around with upgrades and probably the fairest distribution for all the different fleets, because some fleets just don't get upgrades at all after a certain point. Whereas the Americans, for example, and the British for that matter, start getting much better fighters. The next bit is deployment. So, once the battle's field is set, both players should roll 1d10 each, re-rolling any ties. The lowest rolling player must deploy their entire fleet first in one deployment zone, followed by their opponent. It's interesting, we've always deployed it alternately.
One ship at a time.
Yeah, normally.
Like in Black Seas,
This is the thing, we played this game so many times and so many other games, we forget these sorts of things. So one person deploys their entire fleet in one deployment zone, followed by their employment. Okay. Now the other thing though is we get to do scouting. So for each plane in your ship's plane stat, and for each cruiser or destroyer that you decide to put aside, you get a d6 dice. So I've got some planes and I'm going to put the Dido aside because it's got radar. I'm going to do some recce. So this fella's not going to be on the table at the start. This is the first time I've done this actually. Normally I just go with whatever the flights are. And the flights are 3 for the Edinburgh, 1 for the Leander, so I get 4 dice at 5+, and this chap will get 1 dice at 4+ for the reroll. You got any flights?
I got 2.
2. Well, you roll 2 dice, I'll roll 4 dice, and I'll treat the big dice as the big fella.
I didn't get any.
Right, well, I've got 2. So what that means is add 1 to your roll for initiative each turn for the entire battle.
Okay.
So yeah, it just gives me a 10% buff on the initiative every turn.
Okay.
Now, I think we just roll this d10 raw for who deploys first. I think.
Doesn't affect deployment, does it?
I'm not quite sure if it does actually. I'll just assume no because I can't find it. Oh, well shit, you rolled a 10. That means I'm putting my fleet down first. And at some point I'll figure out when my ship comes back. Alright, so we're deployed. We have my fleet here in the middle, because apparently you got to deploy your whole fleet first. We've been doing that wrong for years. So I'll put it in the middle thinking, no, I don't know where Andrew's going to go, so I'll just adjust as needed. And Andrew has spread his destroyers out, the big boy on the left flank. And we will now proceed to, quick note. The Dido will come back. If I roll a 6 in the end phase of any given turn, the following turn will turn up on a random edge. So that could be useful or hopeless, we'll see how we go. And now we roll a d10 each and I get a +1! We'll see if it makes a difference to the game. Oh, my boy is trying to get into the video every chance he gets. 10 versus 5, well that +1's not going to help with that. That means I have to move your ship first. Turn 1, all that happened is I moved forward my destroyers really quick, blowing smoke and dragging other ships up in the smoke so they can't get hit by that thing, which vastly outranges my entire fleet. And Andrews just moved forward in formation, which I'm sure didn't impress their superiors. We'll now roll initiative for next turn. 5 again. 4, brilliant, all right. We'll check in at the end of turn 2. Right, turn 2, and we're just barreling in at each other at the moment, which is probably not a great idea, but I have such a range band disadvantage against that German cruiser, 280 point cruiser, that I've got to suck the damage up and get in there somehow. Now, it's the end phase, we'll roll for damage control. Interestingly, there's no criticals in anything, but that guy is crippled. that guy fired at it, got 2 6s out of 6 shots, and then did 3 damage out of 4 dice, which is, yeah, okay. There's just enough to cripple it. Anyway, we'll now see if the Dido turns up. Oh, it's coming back.
Coming back next turn.
This turn we'll find out where it comes back from next turn. At the start of the movement phase. And we roll for initiative. Ah, great, I've got the initiative again. Okay, we'll check in at the end of turn 3 unless something really spectacular requiring video evidence of the dice occurs. End of turn 3, I think we're up to. What a rollicking brawl this was. Everyone trying to get the best shot based on the best angle. The crippled destroyer sailed in and basically soaked up a bunch of shots before it sank, which otherwise would have gone into a better target. We dropped some points off of this guy. Not enough to do anything serious. So doing critical damage, like crew or something?
Yeah, on this one,
yes,
you did a crew damage on that one.
And it's against his AA, which is useless. And
This one's black and this one's
Dido fired at the cruiser and then took
This one's black and this
a
one's
shot
red.
back from the heavy cruiser, which just took off half of its hull points right off the cuff. That's how crap the Dido is. Belfast took a couple of shots as well, which just did crew -1, which is a nuisance. We'll now roll for end phase, so we've got to deal with criticals. So you do a on 5 you get 1 critical negated,
Yep.
or 1 level of 1 critical I should say. On 6 you get 2. Neither of us did anything. Right, it's now initiative for the turn 4. 9 versus 7, excellent. That recce is paying off already, although the Dido might disagree at this point. End of turn 4. Oh, as Andrew was saying, these little cruiser destroyer fights are knife fights, and it's looking like one. A whole lot of close quarter fire was exchanged, and so torpedoes of that rip, and Andrew's looking more frustrated than usual, having fired 8 torpedoes at that cruiser there, and they all missed.
Didn't even hit the one behind it.
That'd be a very Japanese trick. Dido decided to charge in, have his last hurrah, and missed, and that's now the Dido. He did enough damage to cripple it, and then what did you actually destroy it with?
The magazine.
Was that for the main guns or the light guns?
No, that was the main guns. I did that.
Main guns did that, yep, okay. Oh, that's right, then you fired your light guns at this guy. So yeah, the Dido was on 4 points out of its grand total of 14, and then he got a magazine explosion. So 2d6 later, we've got a nice big puff of smoke. We did, however, manage to knock out one of these pesky German destroyers. Given that that's the only one left with torpedoes, could be worse.
I've got 1 destroyer left with torpedoes.
Yep. That thing costs more points than both of these combined. So we'll see how we go. It's a very even fight. Now for damage control, the Ed, nope, still hasn't figured out how to fix itself.
I think my cruiser's at the bottom of the ocean at the moment.
Oh yes, right, destroyer.
Destroyer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's number 1. Sorry, number 2.
Yeah, because we're ganging up on the damaged one. I think that's the one that sank in the end.
Let me just check.
And we'll make sure we get the right one.
Destroyer 1.
Yep, so that guy's just got damage, but he's not crippled.
That one there.
Oh, him. He's the one who's got
He's
problems.
actually lived, yeah. No, they haven't found the
lived,
right button
right.
or lever to push at the moment, so.
Righto. Alright, well let's roll for next turn. Oh, hang on, I might lose the initiative. Yeah, so alright, Andrew's got initiative. Alright, we'll check in at the end of turn 5. End of turn, I think 5 we got up to. The destroyers broke off because they'd expended all their torpedoes. This guy put himself broadside to fire across here. We decided to close up as much as possible. Got both ships firing broadside at long range of that bad boy for me, although we're close range for you, I think. And we moved the destroyer up to try and get some shots in. These guys got some long range shots on the Dido, actually knocked about, I don't know, 5 or so off.
Cheers, that's right.
Yeah, 'cause hadn't really taken much damage before. I guess the bottom line is Andrew's dice have failed him miserably today. If this was Star Wars, Andrew would be choking them using the Force.
Dice were not with me today, but they still did reasonably well.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, the dice fucked me in the first turn or two, then screwed you over in turn 4, I think.
Torpedoes.
Yeah, the torpedoes. Then your gunnery was a bit weak this turn as well.
Yeah, and last turn.
Yeah, but I have to say, my gunnery's been crap too. I had a 50-50 chance of jumping a torpedo on that. That just didn't work. Can't complain when it's a 50-50, but my guns have not been excelling themselves either. I've got 0 criticals on that thing after pounding it with 2 cruisers for multiple turns. If we were to play out the remainder of the game, I don't know what would happen. We'd have another 3 turns. As it is, you're well ahead on points, but you've not destroyed my whole fleet.
No.
Whereas I've destroyed 1 ship, which is my minor objective, but I also have to be ahead on points. So I think it really comes down to points, which you're ahead on. But again, we're stopping in turn 5. So this is a victory for the Kreigsmarine because you're saved by the bell, or more accurately, parenting responsibilities. Okay, so Andrew.
The smaller battles I find are a lot more fun because there's a lot less stuff to think about as well, and the games are just quicker and easier to manage, especially if time poor. Chuck 500 points on the table. I mean, we could probably even go to 700 points, then it would still be pretty manageable.
I think 700 points would actually probably get through it faster because you have more big ships dumping big rounds.
Yeah, it just make things a little bit more complicated. But I think once you start adding aircraft to the mix, that's when it gets, because that's a whole nother game in itself.
Yeah, it's a whole other phase, effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're probably right, although I think once you're good at playing the game, like you're experienced with it, you'll get through those phases pretty quick and you'll kill more shit faster.
Yeah, I had to look up a lot of stuff along the way.
So it does make sense. If you only got like 3 hours to play, you start with small games and then you play progressively bigger ones and you get them done in the same amount of time.
Yeah, if we have a whole night or like a whole day to play, but that's pretty rare these days. So
True.
these small games are, they're a lot of fun.
And I have to say, it was great taking cruisers instead of big gun biffo all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Because every time you shoot, something's potentially going to go wrong. Like everyone can kill something and be killed by something. But we sank some shit. We drove around in circles. I got rid of the Dido. I'm thinking I might rename it the Dildo because it's about that useful to me, at least. That thing's a beast. And you played it well, keeping it out of range of the main fight.
That's a great cruiser, yeah.
These things are everything I dislike about the British. The Dido's useless. The little destroyers were good, I think. And they don't last very long, but they last faster than some of the American ones. The gunnery's actually okay.
Yeah, 4 dice, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, torpedoes are torpedoes. And the German super destroyers are as much of a nightmare as I remember them being.
Unfortunately, their torpedoes did not hit anything today.
No, I was saved by the bell there, or I was saved by your dice.
Yeah.
But look, that was a great deal of fun. Feel free to hit like, subscribe, etc. Comment on what we may or may not be doing right. Well, if we're lucky, we might get into this global tournament business. Anyway, on that note, babysitter timeframes are saying it's time to call it a day.